Much, Cheney. Senator Dhingra, would you like to speak to your bill?
Yes, thank you so much, Senator Peterson and the committee members for giving me the opportunity to bring this piece of legislation before you. This bill adds the crime of harassment to domestic violence to the list of domestic violence crimes that prohibit a convicted batterer from possessing a weapon. In the state of Washington, as you heard, individuals convicted of domestic violence offenses lose their right to possess a firearm until that right is restored by a court of law for all offenses other than domestic violence offenses other than harassment and malicious mischief 3. So this bill adds the crime of harassment to that list, thereby holding all perpetrators of domestic violence equally responsible and providing safety for the victims. Now, in order for this conviction to occur, a victim of domestic violence has to first call 911. For people who work with victims of domestic violence, we know that it can be very hard to make that first call. Once that call is made, law enforcement officers investigate the case. Once the investigation is completed, the case is referred to the prosecuting attorney's office. The prosecutor has to then determine whether or not to file the case. Once filed, the case has to go through all the usual hearings, arraignment, pretrial, plea negotiations, trial, and then finally to a conviction. This bill will provide safety for victims of domestic violence and will impact only those domestic violence perpetrators that are convicted. And to just give you some statistics on domestic violence, a domestic violence call is one of the most dangerous calls that law enforcement officers respond to. More than half of all women murdered with guns in the U.S. were killed by intimate partners or family. When a gun is present in a domestic violence situation, it increases the risk of homicide for women by 500%. More than 1 in 3 women in the U.S. experience some domestic abuse. And what is equally shocking is that 75% of mass shootings in America involve a perpetrator who has a history of domestic violence. So please join me in supporting this very important piece of legislation. Thank you.